Hey everyone, welcome. It is so wonderful to have you here today. We're diving into a beautiful little fable, a story that, on the surface, is just about a garden, but underneath holds a profound truth about how we live our lives and who we listen to. This is an explainer of the classic tale of Gunniram and the mango tree. We're going to break down this story scene by scene, looking closely at the characters, the passage of time, and the deeply rooted wisdom that we can all apply to our modern, fast-paced lives.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Part 1. The Small Mango Tree.
Once upon a time, there was this energetic little boy named Gunniram who absolutely loved playing in his family's garden. Now, sharing this space was his grandfather, who many years ago had planted a small mango tree and cared for it every single day. Picture it, right? You've got this kid full of boundless energy just bouncing around, while his grandfather remains quiet and focused, meticulously watering this tiny tree he planted so long ago.
Which brings us to Part 2, a question of patience.
So one day, Gunniram actually stops playing. He looks at his grandfather, then looks at this tiny, honestly unimpressive tree, and with utter surprise he asks, "Grandpa, why do you spend so much time watering this tree when it's so small and gives no fruit?"
And the grandfather doesn't get defensive. He doesn't lecture him at all. He simply smiles this warm, knowing smile and says, "My dear Gunniram, good things take time and care to grow." So the absolutely crucial point here is that true value isn't always immediate. The really good things in life require a long-term investment of both time and meticulous care.
Moving along to Part 3, time and care. But, like a lot of kids, Gunniram just didn't understand. He heard the words, sure, but they didn't sink in, and he completely ignored his grandfather's advice as the months passed by. And honestly, how often do we do that in our own lives? How often do we dismiss the long-term wisdom of people who have been exactly where we are simply because it doesn't solve our problems right this second? Gunniram just went right back to his playing, totally oblivious to the quiet miracle of growth happening right beside him.
Let's move ahead and see how this builds over time. Notice the progression here. First, planting a vulnerable tree many years ago. Then, months of silent growth, aided by the rain and the sun, as the tree grows bigger and stronger. Until finally, one summer, the tree transforms and it is absolutely full of sweet mangoes.
That leads us perfectly into Part 4, the sweet reward. Summer arrives, and Gunniram is experiencing pure happiness. He's eating these incredibly delicious fruits, and he's sitting peacefully, completely protected from the hot summer sun under the broad, cool shade of this magnificent, fully grown tree. It has become this massive source of nourishment and profound comfort for him. He is literally sitting in the shade of his grandfather's patience. Sitting there in that cool shade, enjoying the sweet fruit, a realization finally just clicks in Gunniram's mind. He remembers the conversation they had all those months ago, and he admits, "Grandpa, you were right. If you hadn't cared for the tree, we wouldn't be enjoying these mangoes today." He finally connects the daily, kind of unglamorous effort of the past with the abundant joy of his present. And that brings us to our final section, Wisdom of the Elders.
The grandfather smiles once more. His work in the garden and with his grandson has really borne fruit. He tells him, "Just like this tree, elders have experience and wisdom. When we respect and listen to them, we learn valuable lessons for life." And this brilliantly illustrates the true heart of this explainer. The tree was never just a tree, was it? It was a physical representation of lived experience.
Think about how we can map this onto our own reality today. It's kind of like a giant puzzle piece falling into place. The mango tree required years of care to yield sweet fruit and protective shade. Our elders have lived through decades of time, weathering their own seasons of hardship and growth. And what do they yield? Well, valuable life lessons and the protective shade of wisdom. In a world that constantly chases the new, the fast, and the immediate, it is so incredibly easy to walk past the quiet, steady wisdom of older generations. But just like that tree, if we don't take the time to sit with them, to respect them, to really listen, we totally miss out on the sweetest fruits of lived experience.
So, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to take with you as you go about your day. Whose wisdom are you forgetting to water in your own life? Is there an elder, a mentor, a grandparent, or maybe a seasoned colleague whose quiet advice you've been brushing past? Maybe it's time to pull up a chair, sit in their shade, and just listen. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and I will catch you next time.